Hi kids, it's Mrs. VK. Today we're going to start learning how to read rhythms. You will be completing Reading Rhythms 1. Use this video to assist you. So there will be two different types of notes we'll be using today. We'll be using quarter notes and eighth notes. Now, I'm starting off with my rhythm in 4/4 time, and all that means is whenever there's a 4 on the top, there are going to be 4 beats in a measure. And when there's a 4 on the bottom, the quarter note gets 1 beat. So if I were to read 4 quarter notes, my first quarter note in the first beat would be called 1. It takes up the whole beat. A quarter note in the second beat would be called 2. Quarter note in the third beat, which is right here, would be called 3. And a quarter note in the fourth beat would be called 4. So I would read 4 quarter notes in a row like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Very easy. Now, today we're only going to be using eighth notes in pairs, meaning 2 eighth notes connected together. So I'm starting a new measure because here is my bar line, and we're in the second beat, or we're in the second measure, okay? And at the beginning of each measure, we always start with the first beat. So it is 1 and. See, an eighth note only gets a half a beat. As you can see, it goes from here to here. So for the first half, we say 1, and for the second half, we say and it's represented by a plus sign. Now I'm going to my second beat. I would say 2 and. My third beat, I would say 3 and. And in my fourth beat, I would say 4 and. So to read this, I would say 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. See, I can fit 2 eighth notes into 1 beat. Notice the eighth notes, their little flags are just attached together. So if I read these 2 measures, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now on your assignment, I have mixed up the quarter notes and eighth notes. So you have to figure out what beat it's in and whether you will only give it a number or a number plus the and sign. So if it's 2 eighth notes together, it's going to be a number plus the and sign. If it's a quarter note, it's just going to get a number. So let's practice that. Let's say that I start this next measure with a quarter note. I'm in my first beat of the measure. So I know a quarter note in the first beat is simply called 1. Let's say that the next beat I decide to put 2 eighth notes. 2 eighth notes that happen to fall into the second beat of the measure are called 2 and. And let's say in my third beat, I decide to put another quarter note. Knowing that quarter notes only get the number, a quarter note in the third beat is simply called 3. And then finally, in my fourth beat of the measure, I decide to put 2 more eighth notes. So I'm in the fourth beat. 2 eighth notes that appear in the fourth beat are 4 and. So if I wanted to read that rhythm, it would be 1, 2 and 3, 4 and. Let's do another one. Let's say that this time I decide to start my measure with 2 eighth notes. It would be 1 and, because again, I'm at the beginning of my measure and this is my first beat. Each eighth note gets a half of a beat. The second eighth note is called and, represented by the plus sign. Okay, in my second beat, I'm going to put a quarter note. So I would simply call it 2 because it's in the second beat. In the third beat, I'm going to put 2 eighth notes. So they're going to be 3 and. And in my fourth beat, let's say I decide to put another quarter note. It would be, that's right, 4. So this measure I would read 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Now, let's take a look at your assignment. I'm going to walk you through this, and you can pause this video at any time. Hopefully you've been watching all the way through. First thing you do, make sure you click the correct teacher. Some of you are still clicking the wrong teacher. We're halfway through the year. You should know who your teacher is. If you don't click on the right teacher, you will not get credit for the assignment. Type in your first name and your last name. Okay, let's take a look at number 1 together. Here's my first beat. These are eighth notes. Now remember, eighth notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So I'm going to look at this. I know that this is 1 and. Now if this is my second beat, think about what that would be. Third beat. So I've got 2 eighth notes, 2 eighth notes, 2 eighth notes. First beat, second beat, third beat. And then my last beat is a quarter note. And remember, quarter notes just get numbers, 1, 2, 3, or 4. So let's take a look at what beat that fell into. Here's my first beat, second beat, third beat, fourth beat. So I know that's just going to get the number 4. So figure out which of these answers shows you the correct rhythm. You can pause the video while you answer that. Okay, I'm assuming you're restarting the video. Let's take a look at the next one. Here's my first beat. Quarter notes just get numbers. Here's my second beat, and my third beat, and my fourth beat. Now these are pairs of eighth notes, and remember, eighth notes are always a number plus the and sign. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So here's my first beat, my second beat, third beat, fourth beat. If you want to pause the video while you figure this out, you can do so. Okay, I'm going to move on. Let's look at the next one. First beat, quarter note. 1, 2, 3, or 4. Second beat, quarter note. Again, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, or 4. Third beat, we have 2 eighth notes together. Remember, eighth notes are 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And fourth beat, 2 eighth notes. Pause the video if you need some time to figure this out. I'm going to move on. Remember, you can pause this video at any time. So we have 2 eighth notes in the first beat, 2 eighth notes in the second beat, 1 quarter note in the third beat, and 1 quarter note in the fourth beat. Remember, eighth notes, when they travel together, get either 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Quarter notes get simple numbers. So here's my first beat, second beat, third beat, fourth beat. Pause the video if you need time to figure this out. Okay, here's our next one. First beat, 2 eighth notes. This is how we read eighth notes. Second beat, quarter note. This is how we read quarter notes. Third beat, another quarter note, and fourth beat, another quarter note. Pause the video if you need time to figure that out. Boys and girls, I hope this video helped. Now, remember, if you score less than 5 points, you can retake this assignment. This will be your last assignment for this grading period, so do a good job on it. If you've had trouble with other assignments, you can redo them at any time before the end of the grading period. I hope you're having a wonderful week.